All right, we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Hampshire Aerospace and Defense Export Consortium's Lunchtime Connections presentation. Today is December 20th, and we have with us today TRM Microwave, the Southwest Research Institute, and Transupport. I wanted to introduce myself so that you all know the voice behind everything. My name is Stephanie McLaughlin, and I am the principal of Savoir-Faire Marketing Communications, also a NHADEC member, a member of the board of directors, and a member of the marketing committee. Today's the Lunchtime Connections format is going to be presentations from each of the member organizations up to about 8 minutes long, including a Q&A after the presentations. You can, during the question and answer period, either raise your hand in the webinar software, and I will unmute you, or you can type a question into the chat panel, and we can, and I'll be happy to ask the presenters. If anybody has any questions on the format, well, I'm happy to take them now. And if not, then we can jump into our first presentation. And that will be Sean Foote from Transupport. Are you with us, Sean?
I am. Thank you for the introduction. As Stephanie said, my name is Sean Foote, and I am the supply chain manager here at Transupport. To just kind of start diving in on what Transupport is, next slide, please. What we do here is we're buyers and sellers of turbine engines, and more specifically T53, T55, and AGT1500. These are very old engines. They were actually developed in the 50s, and at the time they were developed, jet engines was the way to go. So this was a way to fuel aircrafts and not spend as much gas as jet engines used to. So they proposed this turbine propelling system that we now have today. So with that, we've been buying and selling these turbine power shafts for over 45 years now, and with that, we've accumulated quite the inventory. With having a 50,000 square foot warehouse located in Merrimack, New Hampshire, we often supply MRO facilities or maintenance, repair, and overhaul shops to help service these engines that are constantly being used. After certain log times in the air, they have to be looked at, replaced, bearings switched out, and that's usually where we come in and support these MRO shops with these bearings and gaskets and the overall maintenance of the engine itself. We are also an authorized distributor for the Triumph Group Integrated Systems, cage code 11599, which deal in a variety of aviation fuel systems for a variety of aircrafts. But I'll talk about that a little bit later in our presentation. Transport is proud to also announce that we've been exporting for over 40 years, whether directly through government entities or through agents. And as of right now, our hot areas have been Taiwan, Singapore, Korea, and Dubai. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the three main turbo shafts that we deal with, the T53 is probably our most prominent one, with 80% of our total sales going to this specific engine. As you can see on the slides, the turbo shaft propels or operates in the UH-1H Huey, a OV-1 Mohawk, as well as a AH-1S Cobra. So just judging by the looks of all of these aircrafts, you can tell that they're used for different functionalities, and usually the way that you can tell that is the letter in front of the description. So for the UH-1H Huey, that is a utility helicopter, and the foreign governments that fly these Hueys are Argentina, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Germany, Colombia, Italy, mostly the NATO countries, and we either directly or indirectly support them here at Transupport. The OV-1, as we move on, is an observational aircraft. That is not as prominently used as the other three aircraft shown today, but it is still prominent in Argentina and Israel. And then we have the Cobra, which is an AH-1S or an attack helicopter, and that is used mostly in Japan, South Korea, and Israel, as well as the United States. Next slide, please. So the second of the turbo chefs that we deal with are the T-55, and these are mainly used in Chinooks, the CH-47. So CH meaning a cargo helicopter, and those are still flown in Australia, Canada, Greece, India, Thailand, Singapore, and the United States as well. To our right is the AGT-1500, and this was basically the T-55 almost on steroids. It was souped up a little bit more so it can put out more horsepower. And with that, they use it in the M1 Abrams tanks. These tanks are in Australia, Saudi Arabia, and Taiwan, as well as the U.S. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned before, we are an authorized distributor for the Triumph Group, and we've been distributing for them for over 25 years. Since we've been in business for so long, this partnership almost formed because we were always directly competing with them because we'd always have so much of their stock and surplus that they didn't want to hold on to. So once we realized that we can make a mutually beneficial relationship, we have now been distributing for them, as I said, for 25 years. Just a quick little blurb of Triumph. They design, develop, and manufacture service fuel pumps, fuel metering units, and electronic engine control systems for helicopters and fixed-wing aircrafts. The products that we specifically distribute for them are their fuel controls, their boost pumps, their governors, and their DECUs, their digital electronic control units. Next slide, please. So in summation, like I've said, we've been around for 45 years, and this will be our 24th year actually up in New Hampshire. There's 8 employees that make up 3 generations of foot or feet, if you like to say. And we have our own helipad here at our location. So if anyone in the aircraft would like to stop by and take a look at our 50,000 square foot warehouse, the latitude is 40 degrees, 51 minutes, and 36.3 seconds north, and longitude is 71 degrees, 29 minutes, and 16.2 seconds west at 235 feet above Maine sea level. For more information about Transupport and our product offering, please visit us at www.transupport.com. And if anyone would have any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Sean. What a riot. I don't think I've ever seen anyone in a presentation give their location in longitude and latitude, but I think that was fantastic.
Well, you'd be surprised. We've had actually a handful of helicopters come and stop by to just take a tour or kind of fly over and see our location.
Do they legitimately just drop in?
Yep, I can send you a photo of a helicopter landing in our front yard next time I see you.
That's fantastic. Hey, I have a question for you. So their presentation was a lot about helicopters, and I'm curious to know if these engines that you folks specialize in have other uses beyond helicopters.
Yes, so that's a very good question, Stephanie. Thank you for asking. So as most gearheads know, they always like to tinker and make their engines bigger and better or faster or whatnot. So some gentlemen a few years back converted these turbine engines into actual generators. So they use them to power up construction sites and other various buildings. And then another gentleman created a offshore race boat. So one of our turbine engines actually holds the land speed record for the water land speed record. So water speed record, correct. I'm sorry, there's a little play on words there. But the engine that we put in there just needed to be recoated with magnesium so the salt water wouldn't rust it, and the engine was good to go.
Sean, that is a riot, and partially because I did public relations for an offshore powerboat racing team many years ago. Do you know what team the engines is being used by?
Yep, it was in the Geico boat, and then we've also done the Budweiser boats back in the day, but I don't think they still race anymore. And then the Joe Camel.
Too funny. That's great. Well, that's a neat business to be in. Thanks so much, Sean, for telling us a little bit about TRM and what you guys do. And I'm going to sign off now.